hit them with that act reacher. Y'all gonna learn today. I'm a teacher. That act reacher. Get into the bag.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Yes, what's going down? What's going down? My fault, y'all, man. Had to take my nephew to go see Aquaman. I was supposed to do this and I actually worked hard on this. Salute to everybody. Happy holidays and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Apologies. You know, shout out to everybody that's gonna be the playback players in the words of my brother Cadillac Red. Dag, man. My bad. I didn't get to drop this on time, you know. But anyway, we still gonna make it do what it do. Cause I'm probably not gonna be able to do it tomorrow because I'm gonna be at work. Man, so this one, you know what I mean, is a special. I wanted to drop real quick, you know, my top 10 real quick. You know, I'm a skim through it. I'm gonna do what Drew did. I ain't gonna be too long. Oh yeah, make sure y'all go back and catch Drew's live. Drew and Stormy B. That was definitely a really good. That was a good one. You know, I was wrong. I thought I only knew one of the characters, but I knew two. I didn't realize that was General Thunderbolt Ross. I'm very familiar with General Thunderbolt Ross, so I didn't know two of the guys that he came up off of. You know what I mean? But salute anyway. So coming in at my number 10, man. You know, I just want to say, you know, there's so many great Christmas characters, and one of my, at number 10, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, why you ain't make Santa number one? In my opinion, you know, I gotta keep it real. He ain't really my number one, but he got an interesting story if we follow the one that my mom always talked about. She grew up off of as a kid. I actually had to, like I said, I kind of worked hard on this one because I had to rewatch a lot of this stuff. Some of them I seen, but as a really little kid on tape, you know, probably my brothers and sisters' tapes, some of them on DVD as, you know, I started coming up. So, you know what I mean? I had to rewatch all of this stuff so that I could know, like, kind of the storylines and the backgrounds of this. So, coming in at number 10 is old St. Nicholas, you know, and they got an interesting story and background story behind Santa, man. You know, how he got raised by the Kringles. That's how he got the name, Kris Kringle. His name was Claus. Yo, let me tell you something. That dude, Meister Burger, wasn't nothing. How you find a baby on your doorstep and you just come on now? That was come on, man. And then you talk about bring it to the orphanage. I mean, you should have made sure he was straight. Salute to my brother, Bruce Gas. Salute to D-Man Jr., man. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, so I got Santa at number one, and the origin that I'm basing it off of, like I said, was the one from, I believe it was 1970. You know what I mean? My mom had all of them tapes. I think my mom kept them tapes all the way up until my older brothers and sisters got grown. You know what I mean? This is even before a lot of my brothers and sisters was even around. But It's a good story. Um, you know, the babe. It was a bad snowstorm. That when he sent the guard to bring the baby to the orphanage, basically the wind blew him away, and then he ended up with the Kringles. The animals protected him from the winter warlock. Then he became an age, and all they did was make toys, basically. And he ends up going to the town, and when he gets grown, and he wants to bring the toys because they feel like for them to be making toys is a waste of time. Basically, it's a waste of time for him to be making toys and the Kringles that he grew up with, and they're not going to no kids or anything like that. Meanwhile, the main antagonist, Meister Burger, he trips, he falls, and hurts himself, and then he bans toys. So that's where the conflict happens. So basically, what ends up happening is, it's the whole origin behind saying it. It made sense. It's hilarious. I don't remember if I seen it. I probably did see that as a baby. My mom probably had bought the DVDs from me and my other brothers and sisters. Or maybe she may even save that from when she was a kid and still had the tape. But I kind of remembered it, bits and pieces of it. But it was a good storyline, and then it gives you a lot of the history on why the reindeers fly, and why Santa goes down the chimney, because Meister Burger locks all the doors for the kids. And look, he got to keep coming back and forth because the kids keep writing him letters. But eventually, it gets to a point where he becomes a fugitive. Yeah, Santa was actually a fugitive, and like I said, he still ends up delivering the toys, but it gets to a point to where he only does it on Christmas Eve. He still goes down the chimney, and the winter warlock ends up becoming his friend, and he ends up losing his magic because he ends up becoming a good guy. So, and the snowball, crystal ball thing he got so that he could watch the kids. So, basically it goes into the whole origin of Santa Claus. If you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure all my OGs seen this one. You know what I mean? It's a lot. This came out before a lot of my OGs was even around. So I'm sure that they watched it though. So it's actually a really good story about Santa Claus. So Santa Claus is my number 10. My number 9, I gotta go with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I say Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer. He had a fairly decent story too. He was discriminated against. He was Donner's son, the reindeer. One of Santa's first reindeers. He was Donner's son, and I remember his dad was always trying to hide his nose. He had it in him though. What thing I could say, he definitely had it in him. Had a lot of his dad in him, like his takeoff and everything like that. But he just was discriminated against. He was different. That's the whole song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And basically, nobody really recognizes his worth until the end of the movie. Basically, through that blizzard and that snowstorm that they had that was really bad, Santa Claus actually gives them a chance, talking about, oh, we need your nose. So they ended up needing Rudolph's nose at the end. All that time he was discriminated against, and people trying to hide his nose and not thinking it was a gift. And then eventually the nose ended up being the reason that Christmas was saved. He said his nose was red because of coke. Mr. Sheldon, this is a children's channel, man. You are terrible, man. I'm gonna have to bang the gavel on Mr. Sheldon for that. This is a children's channel. Terrible, Mr. Sheldon. But yeah, man. He said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself." I know you couldn't. I know you couldn't. Salute though, bro. Happy holidays though, man. Um, I had to get this. Now I was supposed to do this earlier again. I'm sorry, but like I said, Rudolph, he was discriminated against. His worth wasn't recognized until the end when that bad storm came and Santa needed his nose to guide the way because the snowstorm was so bad. Santa was actually going to cancel, but he didn't because, like I said, Rudolph's nose being so bright and stuff, it was able to guide him through the blizzard and stuff like that. So number 9, you know what I mean, is Rudolph and Santa. I mean, I said Rudolph and Santa. Well, number 10 is Santa. Number 9 is Rudolph. Let me see. Who was my number 8? Oh yeah, my number 8. Y'all already know what time it is.
Happy birthday! Hey, I said my first words. But snowmen can't talk. All right, come on now. What's the joke? Could I really be alive? I mean, I can make words. I can move. I can juggle. I can sweep. I can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 6, 8.
Yeah, man. My number 8 is Frosty the Snowman. He said, "Jeezy the Snowman." You can't ban the snowman. You can't ban the snowman. You can't ban the snowman, Mr. Sheldon. Yeah, Frosty. And guess what? They're supposed to be coming out with a live action of this. I don't know. I was like, I guess it must be next Christmas. They must be coming out with the live action. Yeah, but they coming out with a live action. They're gonna have the dude that plays Aquaman. He's gonna voice Frosty the Snowman. So that's gonna be interesting to see the live action Frosty. But basically, a magician comes to the school. And this is another movie that my mom came up off of. Like I said, I had to watch all of these at once to refresh my memory, y'all. So, and basically what ended up happening is the magician gets the kids bored and stuff like that. He ends up being really a broken down magician. But the hat that he had ends up actually containing some type of magic. And when he throws his hat away and the kids are outside of the school, well, I think they go home or either they're outside of the schoolyard on recess. I don't know. But they end up making a snowman. The cap blows near them. And that was like the finishing touch on their snowman. And Frosty actually ends up coming to life like you just seen in the video that I played. And once the magician sees that his hat is on the snowman, and he's seen the snowman come alive, and the kids talk about, you seen how the hat was magic, you know, he wants his hat back. And I'm gonna keep it real. Technically, it was the kids, but I kind of felt the musician. Like, that was my hat. I didn't know it was magic, but at the same time, he did throw it away. You know what I mean? He didn't care about it until he found out that it contained some type of magic in it. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to look at that. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want their hat back if they knew that could? To be honest with you, I would have took that snowman with me and we would have bounced. You know? But the kids was really upset about it. He had a bunny named Hocus Pocus, I believe his name was, and he hopped all the way back to the kids, and then the kids end up getting the hat. I don't think that the guy, the musician, he realized it. So him not realizing it, the kids get the hat back. Frosty comes to life. It actually must have been, even though it snowed that winter, wherever they was from, it must have been a little bit warm because Frosty started to melt, and then they telling Frosty basically the only place he'll be safe is in the North Pole. So basically, he has to go with the little girl and take that journey to the North Pole. They end up going in like a refrigerated type train thing, and the girl is cold. Frosty's fine in the freezer, but the girl, she was a real one though. The little girl was a real. I don't know why the rest of the friends ain't go. Let that little girl go with Frosty by. Come on now, I gotta bang the gavel on them kids. Like none of the boys went. They let that poor little girl go all the way to the North Pole with Frosty. Anyway, the musician ends up finding him. Frosty actually melts, ends up coming back, and he promises the kids basically that he'll be back. They end up getting the hat back and all of that good stuff. So this one was a fairly decent story. It wasn't the best one, and it ain't the best character as you can see, but we making our way down the list. Let me keep going. Where we at now? So Frosty's number 8. For my number 7, yeah, this is a movie that I came up off of. Nightmare Before Christmas.
A shiver and a tear.
Wrong one. Wrong Jack. Yes, sir. Number 7 is Jack Skellington. Nightmare Before Christmas. It was kind of weird. You know what I mean? But it was a good story. Jack, I don't know why he wanted more. He was good in Halloween Town where he came from. He actually influenced the mayor. The mayor didn't know what to do without him. So I didn't really understand why he was missing something. He ends up going through like a portal that takes him to the real world, our world. And he discovers Christmas. And he wants to basically become Santa Claus. So his idea is to kidnap Santa Claus so that he could go on a sleigh ride and deliver gifts. But the only problem is he doesn't really get the idea of the type of gifts he's supposed to give, and he doesn't have the whole Santa Claus thing down pat. So everything basically goes sideways as he's transporting the gifts. And the girl is his love interest in it. Her name is Sally. She basically warns him and tells him, I guess because she could like kind of see into the future, that he's gonna end up messing up Christmas basically. And that's what ends up happening. He ends up having the cops on him, and the cops end up shooting his sleigh ride down and stuff like that. It was a mess. So basically, he realizes that he's not the guy for the job. He gets Santa Claus back, and Christmas goes back to basically normal, and he learns to be. It's a good story because basically at the end of the movie, he learns to be grateful for everything that he has, rather than trying to be something he's not, and think that something is missing. So that to me was a really good story, because it kind of tells you to be grateful for what you have, you know what I mean, and stop worrying about what you don't have. So definitely a good Christmas story. So as my number 6, I know a lot of my OGs is gonna like this one, and they probably gonna be. To be honest with you, that's how I know. Like I must not have remembered this movie because I did not remember this being a Christmas movie. Or maybe the last time I watched it, I must have watched. I must have been really little or something. I was like, because why don't I remember it? But number 6, Gremlins, Gizmo and the Gremlins. I didn't realize that it was a Christmas movie because when I looked it up, I'm like, wait, this was a. So I definitely had to go back and watch. I was like, oh, okay, so it took place the whole thing around Christmas time. So I didn't realize that, I guess. So there's some rules here that you got to follow. Keep it away from bright lights. It's a mangwa. You know what I mean? Keep it away from the bright lights or, it'll die. Uh, don't get no water on it because it will duplicate itself. It don't. Oh yeah, never. Don't feed it past 12. To be honest with you, I don't think I would have gave that to my teenage kid. Shout out to Billy though, in the movie. He was a real one. He was holding the family down because his dad was an inventor. But all the inventions his dad came up with, they ain't never worked. I was literally waiting to see if one of the inventions of this dude's dad's actually worked. I was waiting to see that. But none of them did. Good father though. Good father though, because he went out his way to go buy his son a gift. He went to Chinatown and he got Gizmo, and basically, everything ends up going left. The water gets spilt on Gizmo, and the other little manguas become born, and they got one little leader. His name was Stripe. Man, Stripe he was something else. Just when man, like I said, I did not remember this movie at all. I had to watch this on HBO Max. And what's good, sis? I know Tay remember this one. I know Tay remember this one. She said one of my Tay, I did not realize that this was a Christmas movie. I did not realize that it was a Christmas movie. I really didn't. I had to watch it today. I was like, oh, that's why they say that, because the whole movie takes place around Christmas. Maybe I haven't watched it in years. I think I really haven't watched. Yeah, yeah. And actually, when I read up about it, they said it actually was the first, one of the first of its kind. It was like the first kids horror uh ever. I didn't even know that. Shout out to Steven Spielberg. I didn't know he was behind this either. He didn't direct it, but I think he produced it or something like that. He had a hand in it somehow. And but anyway, the leader Stripe, he was very smart, because he ends up sabotaging everything, and he ends up getting them the food late. They end up mutating into something else. Uh, well, what they call gremlins, and everything went downhill from there. And I remember I should have knew something was up right there when they was eating the food, and Gizmo didn't want none of the food. Gizmo was the only good one. Shook his head. It's like, no. Yeah, like I didn't remember this at all. And I know I probably seen it when I was probably seen the reruns, or I don't know, maybe I had the tape or the DVD. I don't know, but I really didn't remember the movie. I really didn't remember the movie. So when I was watching it, it was kind of like I was watching. Well, then again, you gotta rewatch movies as an adult, because you probably got a better understanding of everything. Because honestly, I like I said, I really didn't remember the movie at all. But it was a good movie. It was a good movie. Uh, my thing was, see me, if I would have been in that situation, Strike would have never got to that swimming pool. I promise you. I promise you, he would have got. Once he, because they already took care of most of them. Then when Billy was chasing Stripe, and then Stripe ended up jumping into that swimming pool, and he ran. He was like, "Yo, I got to bet," because you know they was coming. You know they was coming after that. I was like, "Yo, it's a rat." He didn't even get no little thing of water on him. Like, he went deep sea diving. It's yeah, it was early '80s too. This came out. But it was a good one though. I can't front. It was a good old school movie. It was a good old school movie. It was a good movie. So basically, what ends up happening is they end up getting rid of all of them in the movie theater. Yo, them they was bad. They was toting. They had guns, and they was smoking cigarettes. They was gambling. They was terrible. Them little gremlins, yo. They was horrible. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, they really became Americanized in a few seconds. But basically, once they ended up taking care of Strike, everything was good, and then the grandfather ends up coming back, giving him the money back, because he felt like the family. I would have been mad though. I would have been mad, yo. Even though, because Billy, he's still a kid. Like, he got attached to Gizmo, and then he had to give him back. You know what I mean? Even though the grandfather gave the money back and stuff, but it was still like, dang, yo. You know what I mean? He got all attached to Gizmo and all of that, and the thing could talk. But it is a big responsibility, though. I don't know if I would have trusted. I don't care how mature my kid would have been. I don't think I would have trusted it, because what if I spilled water on it? And then look what happened. Look how everything went left. And I can't imagine one of them things in New York City. Oh my God. It would have been terrible. Once they would have duplicated, I wouldn't have been able to take care of all of them. So I already know I would have ended up having to sell them, and yeah, it would have got bad. I already can see it now. I can see it now. So I completely understand why the Asian grandfather said that it's a big responsibility. So at my number, what I put is at my number 6, Gizmo, definitely. I like Gizmo. Gizmo even helped out at the end too. He was a real one. Okay, at my number 5. At my number 5, we winding down now. I don't want to keep y'all too long. Yeah, y'all know it was coming. Cause I'm Act Frost. You know what I mean? I had to. We had to bring out Jack Frost. That's my number 5, Jack Frost.
A shiver and a tear lets you know Jack Frost is here.
Yes, sir. Jack Frost at my number 5. Now, this story is kind of messed up. This is another story I had to go back and watch. I don't know if I ever seen it. This one's older than all of y'all in the comment section. Bruce probably grew up off of this, because I know my mom used to told me about this movie too. Basically, Jack Frost, you can only see a shadow, and what ends up happening is one of the girls named Melissa is kind of, I don't want to say what's the word that I'm looking for? She's not obsessed with him. She's enamored. Like, she admires. She has great admiration for Jack Frost. And he takes that as she really likes him and stuff like that. So that makes him end up really liking her. And basically, he goes to Father Winter and he asks Father Winter if he could become human. And Father Winter says that he has to get a horse, a shelter. I forgot what the other things that he has to acquire a couple of these things before spring comes. In order for him to stay human. But he ends up being able to become real and come into the real world. He ends up calling himself Jack Snip. 2 of the gypsy what are they called? The gypsy. I watch so many movies. Y'all have to forgive me. You know, snow gypsies. I'm sorry, that's what they were. Snow gypsies. 2 of his friends end up coming with him on the journey because, you know, they don't want him to be by himself, basically, and they become human or whatever. And shout out to them. See, those is real friends right there, though. You know what I mean? Because they could have been comfortable staying snow gypsies and stuff like that, but they wanted to make sure Jack Frost was good. See, they was real ones. I actually kind of respected that in a movie. And basically there ends up being the king of the Kazakhs. I'm not making this up. It's actually the story takes place in Triple G's hood. Yes, it takes place because the bad guy is the king of the Kazakhs. And he's taking everybody's kaputniks. Kaputniks, I guess, is a coin, is money. And yeah, he taxes everybody. He's a really bad dude. I don't know who was worse at it. Like if Santa's bad guy was worse than Jack Frost's bad guy, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because Burgermeister Meisterburger was only taking toys away. He wasn't taking people's money. Like, I think Jack Frost's bad guy was a little bit worse. He was taking money, like he taxing. So I want to say that maybe Jack Frost had it a little worse when I think about it. And basically, he doesn't realize that Elisa, she, like I said, she more admired Jack Frost. He didn't realize that she didn't really necessarily want to be with him. She just admired him, you know. And what ends up happening is there was a knight that ends up leaving, but he ends up coming back to the village, and she ends up falling for the knight, even though Jack, he starts really to care for Elisa. And they end up getting trapped and captured, and him and his friends get trapped and captured by the king of the Kazakhs, and he actually sacrifices his humanity to become Jack Frost again. And ends up realizing, you know, that he should just stay, you know, Jack Frost. I mean, he didn't get the girl anyway. She ends up saying that she loved the guy that was the knight. So there was no reason for him to stay human anymore. You know, so he didn't get the girl or anything like that. That was really the main reason in my mind that he became human. So there was no point in staying a human for too much more longer. So basically he goes back and he makes a deal with the groundhog. And we all know the story about Groundhog's Day. It's gonna be 6 more weeks of winter, I believe, if the groundhog sees his shadow and go back under the hole or whatever. So yeah, so they ended up striking a deal, and that's how their origin of how Groundhog's Day was created. So really good story though. It was a really good story. It's kind of sad, like I said, because he didn't end up getting the girl at the end, but he did gain friends. I guess. Okay. This another one I didn't realize. But see, I remember this one. This one I remember. Don't matter if it was 80s, 90s. This was on rotation in my house.
Hey, I'm John McClane.
Our guy. I'm your limo driver. Nice beer.
I remember this one. Shout out to John McClane. And he's my number 4. Terrorists end up taking over, you know, the airport. I believe this one was the one with the airport. This is probably the only movie I didn't get to go back and watch out of all of them. But I remember the main basis of it. And John McClane has to do whatever he has to do to make sure the hostages and everybody is safe. And he does that. He's a cop for the NYPD, but he's visiting the LA. I believe, yeah, he's in LA. And you know, the LA cops don't really jack how. I mean, they both just as the LAPD wasn't feeling how that he was coming over there. He was an NYPD officer, but I still felt like, yo, he's a cop. You know what I mean? Like, and he ended up doing a better job than the LAPD. Good story. He ends up saving everybody. He's a one-man army. And he ends up doing this thing. This is a really good story. It's another one, even though I know this one, I knew it took place around the holidays. This is another one I didn't know they considered it a holiday movie, but I'm not mad. He definitely one of my favorite Christmas characters since they put him in this category, and I'm not mad at it. It's a great movie. I'm probably actually gonna go back and watch this one after I done with this live. Because out of all the movies that I covered, I think this is probably the only one that I didn't watch, but I had seen it recently. All the rest of these movies I hadn't watched. I never watched or I haven't watched in years. So definitely a good story. He actually ends up I think he's going, yeah, I think they have him and his wife got divorced, and it kind of like brought them kind of back together, I want to say, like this whole situation with the terrorists and him holding it down, you know what I mean? So what's good, bro, man? Happy holidays, Mac. I'm doing these top 10 Christmas characters, bro. Definitely John McClane, you know, he one of my tops. Hands down. Hands down. Ain't even a question. Definitely. My man John McClane, man. He Bruce Willis did such a good job in this movie. It wasn't even funny. Like I said, this is one I remember. This was on heavy rotation in my house. I think we had the DVD.
Hey, I'm John McClane.
Our guy. I'm your limo driver. Nice beer.
So salute to Bruce Willis in the Die Hard franchise. Definitely a good movie. At my number 3, who y'all think is my number 3? Who y'all think is my number 3?
All right. I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
On your knees?
I love you. You gotta do better than that. I love you. Maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe you. That's why I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, 4-flushing carcass out my door. 1, 2. 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
Yo, he was a fool, yo. Macaulay Culkin was a fool, yo. Oh man, he was an idiot. I ain't go for this is why you gotta watch the movies before you let your kids watch it. Cause of stuff like that. We don't want them growing up being crazy now. Kevin from Home Alone. That's my number 3. This is another story that I like. This is another story about not appreciating the little things and what you have. Cause Kevin, first of all, what part of Chicago was they in? Cause somebody tell me, cause they was some rich. I know it was a little bit outside of Chicago. They had some money. They had the biggest house on the block. See, I had to go back and rewatch it because I probably haven't watched it as an adult. I was like, yo, they had a pretty big house. I see why Marvin and Harry, was watching that house. He said that house is the reason why I even came to this block. That's what Harry told Marv. And remember in the beginning, he dressed up like a police officer to see what was going on, and they was getting ready to go to Paris or Paris. You know what I mean? And basically, Kevin's he had a pretty big family. He had like what 4 or 5 brothers. It's like 5, 6 of them, and then his brother had a lot of kids too, and they all took him on the trip. So I go front. The older brother was just freeloading off of Kevin and their dad. Like I ain't go front. Whatever they was doing, they had pretty good jobs. Kevin, he's kind of was the problem child out the kids. I believe he was the baby. I believe he was the baby, and he kind of resents his family, for kind of how he treats them and how he gets treated. He actually ends up being put on the 3rd floor, which is like the cellar. And basically what ends up happening is, I guess because they, all the family's over, the cousins and all of that is over, and he ends up getting left. They end up being late for the flight to Paris anyway. And they end up being late. But being that Kevin is in the cellar, he doesn't hear any of this. And they all get on the plane and stuff and realize that Kevin's not even there. Now, where's my gavel at? I have to bang the gavel. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's going on. My mama had 9 kids. There ain't no way. I'm one of the youngest. There ain't no way she would have forgot. It don't matter. We could have gotten to like 3 or 4 arguments. No way you should have forgot your kid. I gotta bang the gavel on that. Terrible parenting. Terrible. That's why I say everybody shouldn't have kids. I don't care what race, what color. Everybody shouldn't have kids. Cause of stuff like that. How you forget your kid going to Paris? Salute, bro. Salute, Red. He said Kevin's dad was my old connect. Come on, Red. Yo, happy holidays, Red. Red, my guy right there, man. That is terrible, bro. But how you forget? He might have been Red if Red is there. He might have been, because you know what was crazy? The mom felt bad, Kevin's mom, when she realized that she left him, and she was ready to give away her Rolex. I guess it was a bust down Rolex. She said, "Is that a Rolex you're wearing?" and stuff like that. She was like, "Please, I'll give you, whatever to get back to the kid." The dad is still going on the trip. No, bro. Nah, I would have had to tell the rest of the kids, like, yo, we going back for your brother. I don't care if he was the problem child or not. We going back with your mother. Even though, you know, some events end up happening. Kevin, you know, the night before they left, Kevin said that he wished that he wasn't around his family, and then his mom said maybe you'll get what you wish for, and it actually ended up playing out like that. Kevin ended up not, you know, not waking up to his family. He thought that it was a joke, and they really left him in Chicago by himself. And he basically goes through his older brother's money and room and stuff like that. So luckily he had money to hold him over. But Marv and Harry didn't believe that that house, because they home invaders basically. And they don't believe that that house is still packed. Kevin did a good job of acting like people were still there and stuff like that. But eventually he gets found out that he's home alone. And there's an old dude that they end up lying about, telling a story that always shovels people's driveways, and saying that basically he was a serial killer and stuff like that. It ain't until Kevin goes to church and realizes that he was wrong for what he said and did to his family, that he meets up with the old guy and he finds out who the old guy really is, how he has, you know, adult problems, how he hasn't talked to his son after they got into a bad argument, how he came to the church to watch his granddaughter sing and stuff like that. And, you know, Kevin, you know, he's not the bravest, but he asks the old guy, like, why don't you talk to your son? And he's like, I'm scared that he ain't gonna talk to me. He's like, I thought adults are, you know, because you're adults, you don't get scared. He said, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can always be afraid. You know what I mean? She said, what is your number one, bro? We getting there. This is number 3. This is number 3, Tay. I gotta make it stretch for like an hour with some change at least. Why you think I'm, you know? We getting there. I'm up to my number 3, I believe. Yeah, this is my number 3. So we got 2 more. And I'm gonna keep it real. Number 1 and number 2 was very hard. Very hard. These is 2 of the greatest Christmas stories and characters. I don't care what nobody says. This was very hard. But yeah, so Kevin ends up deciding after he gets found out that he's gonna protect his house. And he does that very well. And an 8-year-old kid outsmart dudes probably 40 plus. That don't make no sense. That's why they got that game at let's see how old your brain is. An 8-year-old kid. She said, okay, sorry, bro. I'll pull a double duty. Got to go back to the other page because that I can talk to. Nah. You good, Tay. I actually, yeah. You good. You know, I'm getting there though, sis. We getting there. But this was a good story. I don't forget. I grew up off of this one. So this is not one that but I did actually have to go back and watch it because I could tell I haven't watched it since I was a kid because there were certain things that I missed that I understood now. You know what I mean? As an adult. You know what I mean? I didn't realize, like, I don't think I ever realized why he ended up being home alone. I know he got into an argument, but I didn't realize the whole redemption process of him going to the church and him wishing for his family to be back no matter how mad he was or annoyed at his family. So all that part I didn't get, you know. And then the mom actually ends up getting a ride because this band that she ends up running into is going to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee and Chicago, I heard, isn't too far away from each other. So he ends up saving the house, but the old guy ends up actually saving him. Thank God he went to the church and met up with that old guy. Maybe the old guy might have still saved him, maybe not. But thank God, because Marv and Harry ended up having him at the end. They had his number at the end. They hung him on the freaking coat hanger and everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, she said, of course I remember this one. Great story. And he ends up seeing his mom the next day, gives her a big hug. And actually, the dad and the kids end up coming back early because they didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Even Spike, the older brother, he didn't feel right like that. His brother was out there like that. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, this is a good story about a good Christmas story about redemption. So my number 3 was definitely Home Alone. But before I go, I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta play
All
one
right.
more time.
I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
On your knees. I love you.
You gotta do better than that.
I love you.
Maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe you. That's why I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, 4-flushing carcass out my door. 1, 2. 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
I love that one. Yo, I love that part, yo. He said, what Red said? He said Kevin wished for his family. Yeah, he did, Red. He did. Yo, I ain't even gonna lie. Yo, I had a situation like that when I was little, bro. Like when I was mad, like I rolled on everybody, my older brothers, and I got mad brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Like I rolled on everybody. Like, yo, I hate y'all. I became one of them little, you know what I mean, them little bastards saying stuff like that. And now, you know what I mean, I'm real tight with my family ever since my mom been gone. So I can't, you know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes you don't see, and he was only 8. So I gotta remember, it's not like he hit puberty or anything like that. He's only 8. And he got what he wished for, Red. He definitely got what he wished for, too. He woke up in the morning, nobody was in that house. It started feeling fun. It's because he had a decent size amount of brothers and sisters by himself. But then the cousins came over. His uncle, his dad's brother's kids came over, and he had a flock of kids. That joint really reminded me of how I grew up. That was the white version. But yeah, that's my number 3. Kevin definitely my number 3. All right. So now we winding down, y'all. Ah, man, this was a hard one. This was hard, bro. 1 and 2 was so hard, but I had to go based on stories. of who was gonna be my number 1 and 2. All right, so my number 2 is my main man.
4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I bump the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. But what would I wear?
The Grinch. Yo, I gotta keep it real. You know, this was one of my first DVDs. This and Rush Hour 2. I was mad little. Yup, it's a fact. It's not a theory, it's a fact. No, you crazy. See, you older than me, Tay. So yeah, I can understand why you would say that. Yo, when this came out, when I was little, this movie was fire. Yo, Jim Carrey did his thing. Jim Carrey did his thing in that. Yo, I disagree with that, Tay. I ain't gonna front. Jim Carrey. Then I ain't gonna lie. I believe that was my mom's favorite Canadian because she got a kick out of Jim Carrey. She got a kick out of Jim Carrey. Like, we had all of the DVDs of Jim Carrey. I ain't gonna lie, but the overall theme of this, man, I like stories like that give you a second chance. I'm a sucker for movies like that when a person gets second chances. You know how they were so against the movement, then they end up joining the movement and being better than people that started the movement. So that's how it happens sometimes. And you know, the Grinch. She said, oh, you didn't want to go see this, and Mama Brown took you to go see. This is yo, Tay, you is what? This is my first DVD. We got the DVD. We got everything late, y'all. DVD player. I probably got the DVD like 2 years, 3 years after it came out, but still, I remember this is one of my first ones. And this is a really good story. You know, it actually goes into the origin of the Grinch and why he actually hates Christmas, how he was similar to Rudolph because he was different and he was discriminated against. And he's another one I understand so much more as an adult than I did as a child. You know, and ends up stealing Christmas from everybody. And he actually teaches the Who's a lesson because all they care about is gifts, 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 and they don't realize the meaning of Christmas. And he actually helps that. And if it wasn't for Cindy Lou Who, it's sad. A little girl had to teach. She was probably about the same age as Kevin. About 8 years, an 8-year-old girl had to teach full-grown adults the meaning of Christmas about it not being only about gifts, about being with family, about you being able to still celebrate and bringing in the holidays, if you do celebrate it, with your family and bringing it in and being around and spending time with your family and stuff like that. So I think there was a very great message in the glass bottle. But you got to read the letter. You know, it was a very good message. And at the end, the Grinch, he even learns that after he takes the Grinch took everything. He took the food, the turkeys. the trees. Even if there was one little Christmas ornament left behind on the floor, he took it. You know, so, and when the people panicked and stuff like that, and then once everybody realized that that's not the meaning of the whole holidays, just getting stuff, they still celebrated, and the Grinch ended up feeling bad and repented on everything that he kind of did, and bought everything back. So thought it was a great story. Jim Carrey did an amazing job, Ted. You are crazy. Let me run it back one more time.
4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I want the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. But what would I wear?
Jim Carrey did his thing, Tay. You crazy. He did his thing in that. That was a good movie. Okay, so last but not least, my number one. All right, Tay. You finally gonna see who my number one is.
Cook goose for everyone!
It's Ebenezer Scrooge!
Yes, a cooked goose! Ha ha ha!
Yep, y'all guessed it. The number one Christmas character of all time, Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, I really like this story. Scrooge is what they call a miser. A miser is somebody that hoards money, that is really cheap, and they hoard money. So always remember that. Remember that term, a miser. Ebenezer Scrooge, he got to be number one. The story was so real. About a man that never wanted to be in poverty. He put the money before everything, even before his love interest. Jacob Marley, his business partner, ended up dying, leaving it to him. And then you seen the person that worked under him, Bob Cratchit. And he had a son and daughter and family, you know, Tiny Tim. And this is just a great story. You know what I mean? Shoot, we might have to, the LDBC, we might have to redo this. We might have to do our own version of this. I'll play Scrooge. You know what I mean? I don't know who gonna play. Shoot, I got to get the voice actors. I'm gonna be cheap. I don't think we're gonna make it a live action. It'd be cheaper if we get somebody to draw the illustration. I'm gonna have Red play one of the spirits. I don't know if Red gonna be the ghost of Christmas present or Christmas past. I gotta have BFTB play the ghost of Christmas future. BFTB got to, because he's the ghost of Christmas future. We'll get to that. But anyway, she said, "Lord, shoot, I'm telling you, we got to, man. I think that'd be dope. That'd be dope. We redo the Scrooge movie next Christmas. I need somebody that's a good illustrator though, that know how to cartoon. And then after that, it's cheaper. All I need is the voice actors. I get the voice actors, it'd be dope. I'm definitely playing Scrooge though, Tay-Tay. Definitely. I think I would do a good job. Nah, I would have. That's how I would do it. I would have Red play the Ghost of Christmas Past. I would have Mac play the Ghost of Christmas Present. But Mac, look, Mac. If Stay Ready out there, if I do, yo, look, your character's gonna end up eating turkey and stuff. I know you a pescatarian, but you ain't gonna actually be eating it. The character's gonna be eating the turkey and stuff. So I don't know if Mac feel a certain way about him not dining on, because you gotta remember the Ghost of Christmas Present. He man, listen, he ate good and all of that. You know what I mean? And he was the one that was having a good time. But I think Scrooge learned the most from him. But let's get into the story. So Scrooge, as he's going home on Christmas Eve, this dude is messed up. First of all, he didn't give Bob Cratchit. It took for Bob Cratchit to tell him that it's Christmas for him to get the day off. Why you couldn't? I gotta bang the gavel on Scrooge. Why you couldn't give him the day off? He said, "Yeah, but you're not gonna get any pay." It didn't pay the man. I'm getting paid today. Terrible, man. That was horrible. Scrooge was a terrible guy, man. He really was. He really was. This was a whole 360. This was a great story about somebody doing a whole 360. This is probably the best, even outside of Christmas. It's probably the best story ever of somebody like redeeming themselves. It don't matter what version you watch. If you watch the one my pop grew up off of, when he was a kid in like the 30s, if you watch the 70s one, if you watch the Muppet one, if you watch the newer one that I came up with Jim Carrey again, don't hate Tay-Tay, the Disney one. Oh yeah, they had another one with Mickey Mouse in them too, with Scrooge McDuck. That's Red's boy, Scrooge McDuck. I forgot about that one. I'm thinking of the one that Jim Carrey played. He did a good job too. But Scrooge ends up getting visited by his old business partner, Jacob Marley, and he visits him in chains as is like a spirit. And he's like, these is from the chains of life and the burdens that I wore that kept me shackled down. You know what I mean? Don't let this happen to you, Ebenezer. You know what I'm saying? And Ebenezer, that's how cheap he is. He don't even like to light his candles because that oil for the candles costs money. But he ended up lighting it up when he heard them premonitions and stuff like that. He ended up lighting the candle then. So he goes to sleep, and before he goes to sleep, his old business partner warns him that he's going to be visited by 3 spirits. Y'all all know the story. And he go to sleep, and then the ghost of Christmas Past come visits him. And then they show him his past and a light-hearted version of Scrooge. Him actually meeting his first love interest. They even showed, I believe, because he only got one living relative. And, I forgot his nephew's name. I don't remember his nephew's name. But it's his sister's. It's his sister, even in the book. It's his sister's. I think his sister's name is Mary. It's her only. So that's his only living relative. And it's kind of sad that he didn't even want to go eat dinner with him, and his nephew invited him over. And they just show him his whole past. And then he goes to Christmas Present. And I like the spirit of Christmas Present because it shows Bob Cratchit and how his family is living. And Bob Cratchit is a real one because he still appreciated Scrooge. And he could barely scrape up money for a turkey. And Tiny Tim had an old crutch. And the kids were starving. They barely had any food. And he still, and the wife was dogging. The wife was, Fran, whatever. Sorry, Tay. You know better than me. I thought it was Mary. I think maybe in one interpretation that I was watching, her name was. Sorry, Tay. Thank you for the correction. But anyway. I like the Ghost of Christmas. He even says that he learned the most from the ghost. Like he was like, Spirit, I learned the most from you. This is that and the third. And remember, the spirit was so big that he had to shrink down Christmas Present. And you seen him eating the food, and he was drinking, and he was having a good time. To me, they kind of based him off of Thor. He had a red beard, and you know what I mean? You know, Thor liked to drink and eat a lot. And Santa Claus, too. It was a combination. So I always liked it, the Ghost Christmas Present. You know what I mean? But he showed him, he's like, will Tiny Tim pass away? And then he started worrying, and then he starts being more concerned about his employee, Bob Cratchit. So, you know, so to me, the Ghost of Christmas Present, he had an effect. Maybe even more than the Ghost of Christmas Past did. It definitely had an effect on Scrooge. And then, last but not least, we get to the spirit of all spirits, the Ghost of Christmas Future. And who wouldn't have been terrified? Come on, man. That was basically a Grim Reaper. That's why BFTB, if we do redo the interpretation, we're gonna have BFTB play the Ghost of Christmas Future. Who else could who else could do it? You know what I mean? The Ghost of Christmas Future. You know what I mean? She said, Tay said that scared me. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care who says what, yo. Anybody would have been scared of the Ghost of Christmas. It's basically a Grim Reaper. He wasn't even saying nothing. In every interpretation that I ever watched, he don't say nothing. He just point. And I like how he goes into the future and people are in Scrooge's home, which I don't know how they would have been able to take everything and bust into his home like that. He still had a nephew. He still had a living relative. Shouldn't it have went, even though he didn't have kids or anything, shouldn't it have went to his nephew and his family? Tay said, that's why I was scared. But you like scary movies and stuff, Tay. So the Ghost of Christmas Future, if they would have came and visited you, that should have been nothing to you. Because you a scary movie person. That should have been nothing. And you remember what Scrooge said too. He said, "Oh, spirit, out of all the spirits, I fear you most of all." Scrooge was scared straight when that third spirit came. It wasn't a joke. If he didn't get his act together with the first two, with that one, he put it all together then. He put it all together then. And then, like I said, they went in his house. Everybody was celebrating a person being dead. He said, "Spirit, who are they talking about, spirit?" And the spirit didn't say nothing. He just was pointing, showing him where to go, directing him, and all of that. He ain't say nothing. He ain't say nothing to him. Just pointed. And then they end up coming to the cemetery. You see two headstones. One was Tiny Tim's. He said, "Oh, Spirit, I didn't mean for this to happen." And then he pointed to another. He said, "Spirit, whose grave is this?" And then he ends up wiping the tombstone off and ends up saying Ebenezer Scrooge. He said, "Oh, Spirit, now you want to change. When stuff getting funky, you want to change." But basically, it was a long night and a long dream, and the dream shook Scrooge up enough for him to wake up and change. He's donated to the poor. Let me say it in my Red's voice: money for the poor. And he just ends up becoming a whole different person. So Scrooge is my number one.
Cooked goose for everyone!
It's Ebenezer Scrooge!
Yes, a cooked goose! Ha ha ha!
You know what I'm saying? So that's my number one character. You know what I mean? I did the top 10. Didn't want to keep y'all. Yeah, word. Like I said, sorry about me doing it so late, y'all. Meant to do it a little bit earlier, but I had to run around with my nephew. Had to get him some Nintendo Switch games. So this is all my nephew's fault. I would have went on earlier, but I had to get him a Switch game. I'm probably gonna go see Aquaman next week. Probably see Aquaman next week. Cause after running around with him, this one I don't got no kids. You know what I mean? I ain't even had the energy after that. But that was my top 10 Christmas breakdown. Christmas character breakdown. Hope I didn't keep y'all too long. And like I said, I'm sorry I didn't go on earlier. You know, like I said, I had to do some running around. I'm going to get ready to chill out and relax. This was kind of fun breaking this down, you know. Oh my God, Tay, stop. Just talk about I'm gonna have shoot. That ain't happening. If that ever did happen, the chances of that happening, I don't think none of my brothers and sisters that have kids ended up having twins. Even though my mom and my Aunt Rose always did say that I would be the one, and I don't see that. I've been safe this far. You know, they say things start changing after you had the babies. You know what I mean? No. My mom was a twin. Tay, she didn't have twins. My mom was a twin. My mom and my Aunt Rose. That's my mom's identical twin sister. My grandma, though, she had like 2 sets of twins, though. She had 2 sets. My My mom had 12 brothers and sisters. I couldn't even have a big family. Like, if I did have kids, she said, see, twins. I got a friend, one of my Dominican homeboys I came up with. His mom is a twin. He had twin girls. It was crazy. I said, oh, man, you about to have to get the shotgun, bro. He's like, you next. I was like, shut up. D-Man Jr. said my sister had 2 sets. Yeah. My only person I know that did that was my grandma. Yeah, so D-Man Jr., man, we gonna do the LDBC version of the Christmas Carol. I'm gonna play Scrooge. Red gonna play the Ghost of Christmas Past. Stay Ready gonna be the Ghost of Christmas Present. BFTB gonna be the Ghost of Christmas Future. Dad, who gonna play Bob Cratchit? Damn, who will play a good Bob Cratchit in the LDBC? Damn, I would have to think about that one. That's hard. See, he said, "There you go." Well, D-Man Jr., we gonna have you play Bob Cratchit. He said, Mr. Shelton probably would do a good job. I probably think, not take him serious, he probably get the best Academy Award out of everybody, too. He probably really play a good Bob Cratchit, too. Now, we're going to cartoon it, though. It ain't going to be live action. It's cheaper that way. See, I'm the type of person we're going to say, we're going to be like Scrooge for real. We're going to save money. We're going to just pay for the illustration and the cartooning, and then we're going to turn y'all into great voice actors. Tay said, I'll play Tiny Tim. I'm a bitch. Nah, but like I said, that it was hard though. My 1 and 2, because I was gonna put the Grinch number 1, then I had to think. I said, how am I gonna really rate this? I said, because both of those stories is good, and I was like, you know what? I have to go with Scrooge because of the whole like redemption. Like if there was any story that had to do with redemption, that one had to definitely do with redemption the most. So I'm gonna leave that at that. With that being said, let me let y'all get out of here. I just got done with my running around. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was supposed to go on at 6. I'm sorry. I apologize, y'all. Had to run around with my nephew real quick. I already got the gifts, but I had to go see him and bring the stuff to him or whatever. So it took me a while. So that's why I didn't go on at 6. Salute, man. Y'all take care. Yeah, my bad, man. That, like I said, that was my. I was gonna wait to be honest with you, I was gonna wait to give it to him till tomorrow, but that was my bad. But you still came through anyway, D-Man Jr. We appreciate that. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here, and I very much appreciate that. H to the Izzo. Now let me stop. Yo, salute, man. Y'all will take care, man. And I'm gonna be back with another one on Comic Cons, man. I'm gonna be back with another one. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but this was a perfect time for me to do a top 10 since it was the holidays. Y'all be good. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and the full Berserker clan and the Usual Suspects. Make sure you shop usualsuspects6.com because you fit the description. Salute, y'all. Peace.